Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Golden Ratio Podcast. I am Jen, JR Mom, joined as always by JR Dad.
Hi.
How's it going, JR Dad?
Great.
Excellent.
I haven't podcasted at all since we last podcasted together. That's true, and don't even think about it.
Why would you lie to me about it?
Because I'm not lying. Why would I even bring it up? I don't know. It's full on honest.
Did you do a secret podcast while I was away?
Wouldn't be secret if I told you, would it?
I mean, what if you did a podcast that was secret, but also were like, Jen, could you please not listen, but also post this thing?
No, look over there. There's things.
If you're a Patreon subscriber, you got GR Dad's secret podcast that he did while I was at Cambridge last week.
Yeah, it actually reduced the value of your Patreon. So we'll have to put some good content out to balance it out.
People seemed to like it. The cocktail of the week this week is the written word. It is a variation on the last word, which is a classic and famous equal parts cocktail. The last word is equal parts gin, green chartreuse, maraschino liqueur, and lime juice. But as we know, I am not a fan of maraschino liqueur because it should taste like maraschino cherries, but it does not.
It's misnamed.
It tastes like funkiness.
It's misnamed.
I don't like it.
Misnamed.
The written word is a variation. It is also an equal parts cocktail. Gin, green chartreuse, lime juice, just like the last word. But instead of the maraschino liqueur, which I don't like, it has Cointreau, which I do like very much.
You don't like being deceived, or you don't like the flavor of the maraschino?
I don't like...
Sounds like both.
I don't mind being deceived.
It's lying to you. Is that what it is?
No. I actually just don't like the taste of the maraschino liqueur.
And you like the cherries, so this is a good test.
I keep trying. I think one could do it with like cherry hearing, which is a cherry flavored liqueur, as opposed to maraschino, which is not a cherry flavored liqueur.
Is the hearing a Chicago thing?
I don't think so. Cherry hearing? I don't think so.
It should be Höring.
It's Heering.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like
it's Danish.
Well, there you go.
Hearing cherry liqueur is a Danish liqueur flavored with cherries. It's very cherry flavored, famously used in a Singapore sling, one of my favorite cocktails.
Yes.
But anyway,
way one of your favorite cocktails. Like, that's way ahead of other things.
If it's on the menu, I'm probably ordering it.
Yep.
Like, it would be a top choice for sure.
Yep.
Anyway, the cherry hearing's not in this. The written word is gin, chartreuse, Cointreau, and lime juice. But maybe we'll make a gin, chartreuse, cherry hearing, and lime juice. I don't know how well the cherry hearing would do with the green chartreuse, though. There's
Maybe
only one
they're
way to
friends.
find out.
Maybe they make it purple.
We are on our second pitcher of sangria, so it's probably not a good idea.
Green and cherry red makes purple.
You know what? When you pause to take a dog out in the middle of the podcast, I'm going to make one of these. What should we call it? It's got to have word in the name. There's like the last word.
Sure, yeah.
The written word.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll think about it.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, I was pleased to see this one, the written word. I would absolutely drink that if someone offered it to me. I love green chartreuse and cocktails.
Are people offering you drinks all over the place?
Just nobody offers me a drink ever.
Hey, do you want this last written word, schlop?
I'd be like, yes, please. That sounds great.
I'm not going to finish it. Do you want it?
No, then I would say no.
Have we ever done this in Key West where we've like not finished a drink and just gotten it in a plastic cup? Which I know they do to-go cups.
They sure do.
But I don't think we've ever done it. Maybe once.
Yeah, once at Blue Heaven, I think we took our drinks to go.
Yeah, that's probably true.
We take our frozen Irish coffees from Mary Ellen's to go all the time in plastic cups.
But that's planned, right? Like,
yes.
The scenario is just like it's a doggy bag, but for your liquor, for your drink.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. Also, you can drink on the street here, mostly.
I think it's technically not legal, but they don't care.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay, it's time for Administrative Corner.
Ooh, I love Administrative Corner, as I seem to recall, although it's a long time ago.
It has been a long time.
Long time.
I have a couple items, beginning with a sad one, which is Sizzle, former foster dog of the Golden Ratio. If you're a real OG follower, back in 2018, we fostered Sizzle. She came from a hoarding situation. Like the sheriff seized all these dogs from this person.
I remember like 20 or so, right? It was a huge number of dogs.
God, they just kept coming. Like there were all different breeds of dogs. I think there were 5 Goldens that came in the group with Sizzle. Yeah. She was one of 5. But there were like a bunch of groups. It was like a hoarding breeder situation. All the Goldens, maybe all the dogs, but certainly all the Goldens had been used as breeder dogs. And the sheriff had kind of ordered them all into rescue. So it must have been like really awful. And those dogs spent like a month at the vet, like inpatient at the vet. And
it was really awful, right? Like they weren't allowed outside. They were just kind of
they were just in a crate
breeding
the whole time.
Yeah, it sounded so sad.
It was really terrible, and the conditions sounded awful. They were all very, very sick. And Sizzle had to have all of her teeth pulled except for like the canines, the pointy ones. And I think she did have a couple molars left.
Like 2.
They did go eventually.
Yeah, they went while she was with Barb, yeah.
We called her the little vampire.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you rescue breeder dogs, they have a hard time connecting with humans. Like there's just something that breaks in them at some point.
Because they've never done it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And a lot of people who rescue breeders, it's not that they're bad dogs. It's just that they're like, oh, we didn't really form the connection that you can with other dogs, even if they come from really rough situations. That was not the case with Sizzle. We got her and she was just a lovely, amazing dog. We probably would have kept her, except within like 2 days of getting her, I was texting with Barb Nelson, who is mom of Matt Nelson, who runs Re-Rate Dogs. And I was like, Barb, I think she'd been looking to adopt a Golden. She was approved with our rescue group. And I was like, I think this, excuse me, this is the dog for you.
Yeah. And they already had Zoe, so it was like a nice situation to have an older mentor.
Yep. And I was like sending videos and she was like, I totally want this dog. And I was like, you are absolutely getting this dog. And, she was all approved. And we, after our 2 weeks of having her, may have been a little longer if she had any health stuff to work out, but we drove her out to Charlottesville. So we kind of met the Nelsons in halfway in between our houses in Charlottesville and exchanged Sizzle. And it was just like we would have kept her because she was great. Mm-hmm. You especially loved her.
Yeah, there was nothing. I mean, we weren't at the time looking to expand, right? Like
we had 5 at the time.
We weren't replacing a dog. We weren't. Yeah, we had the 4 plus queso, and so we weren't looking to like expand, and we didn't have a magic number that we were trying to get to. Would have been a significant increase for us, but she was fitting in real well.
Yeah, she was great. But I had kind of promised her to Barb, and like what a great match it was.
Immediate.
Like, they both just loved each other. It's, we say, for a lot of the dogs here, it's like they maybe would like there to be less dogs. They'd be happy if they were the only dog. And I think Sizzle was it's really good that she had Zoe. There was another dog mentor there. Mm-hmm. But, I think she did really well in a house with not 5 other dogs, like one other dog.
Dogs in her face all the time, yeah.
And, she was just so loved and allowed to like live her best life. And, she was pretty old when we took her in. We didn't know exactly how old she was. But she made it another 6 years.
Yeah,
after they adopted her,
which just shows how much she blossomed.
She really did.
Yeah,
yeah.
She came out of her shell and was just. She was. It all fit. It all fit.
I'm sorry, I'm coughing, you guys. I've had a cold for like 3 weeks. Not COVID. Not the flu. Something else. Super annoying.
Something mysterious. We don't know either.
God. If you followed her adventures, so OK Zoe is the Instagram account that belongs to Zoe and Sizzle. She once caught a squirrel, and the squirrel bit her a few times. She had to go to the vet, but she killed the squirrel, but she only had 4 teeth. So she like hole punched that squirrel to death.
It's a grim picture, but it's like amazing that this like weird toothless dog caught a squirrel. When dogs don't catch squirrels.
No.
What kind of dopey squirrel?
It's like chomp, chomp, chomp.
Lets themselves get caught by a golden retriever. It's not like it's a hunting dog. I don't know.
It is a hunting dog, but still.
In the olden days, I mean, our guys, not great hunters. There's like, there could be deer like grazing next to them and they'd be like, meh.
Yeah. Ingo, I think you're sitting on the remote control. The TV's doing weird stuff in the background. But anyway, poor Sizzle, however old she was, which was quite old, passed away this last weekend. And, she was kind of part of the OG. She came before boyfriend Riley came. She was here with Hops and Vink and Maggie and Jasmine and Queso.
But it was such a good success story, feeling like we've shared the love and found the perfect home for a dog, right? Like it would have been, she would have been good with us, but I think she was perfect with Barb.
Yeah, I mean, I like all the matches that we've made for the dogs that we've adopted out. We adopted out a dog called Tomas. I think he probably came to us as Thomas.
He was a Muto.
I was just like, his name is Tomas. Yeah, he was one of the Mutos.
We just decided he was Tomas.
If you are not a long-term follower, you probably don't know the term Muto because it's been a long time.
And it's a weird reference.
The reference is from the 2014 Godzilla movie. With
not the Matthew Broderick one, the one after.
No, the really good one after it, where there's the Mutos, which is massive, unidentified terrestrial organisms, I think.
Yeah.
And they got these big, long, unwieldy legs.
Yeah.
And I loved that movie, and we kind of called all the dogs the kind of skinny, often field golden dogs came.
They're kind of like Guac, but before we had Guac.
Guac absolutely was a Muto. Yeah, they're kind of skinny. They got big, long legs that are just like flailing everywhere. We started calling them the Mutos. And Tomas was a Muto, and he got adopted. They renamed him Murray. And he had an Instagram. He's also passed, but he had an Instagram account for a while. He was a really good match.
Yeah.
I don't regret any of the matches that we've made. They're all good. But, there's just some where we get to see, and the people are infallibly kind, never frustrated. They never get angry. They never yell. They are always just there to create the same environment that we try to create here, which is one that's calm and peaceful, that I try to create. Yeah. And then I leave for a while, and I leave poor Ingo in charge of 6 crazy dogs with 3 puppies.
My chaos tolerance is just so much higher than yours.
Yeah, I mean, you don't create the chaotic environment. They create the chaotic environment around you.
I just let it boil longer than you do. Yeah, you take it off the heat, and I'm like, yeah, it's boiling. It's fine.
And I think it's fine, right? But the fact that these dogs go into households where nobody's yelling at the dogs or at each other. It's calm. It's peaceful. They really get to fully relax. They're never getting yelled at.
Right.
They never think they're doing something wrong. What a gift it is to be able to give that to a dog, where they go into a place where there's no tension. There's no strife.
They never have to be worried, right?
They never have to worry about anything. And Sizzle definitely got that, and we were able to see it, right? I think that's true for a lot. Most of the dogs that we've adopted out,
sure,
they go to houses, and we try to find houses like that. But Sizzle really got it, and she was so happy, and you could see her just go from this really deprived, traumatic background,
closed off dog,
yeah, to really open and connected and happy and relaxed. It was so great, and. So it's very sad that we saw her go. We're so grateful that we're friends with Barb. She talked to us, before they put her down. We were texting that it was sort of the end of her time, and we, it's obviously sad when that happens, but we love being able to be part of that process, and offer that too. When we lost St. Patrick, he had been fostered by this really amazing family, I guess in West Virginia. Or was it Western
Virginia? It was West Virginia in the John Denver sense.
Yeah, that's right. They were just amazing, and they took such good care of him. And again, if you weren't a follower when we got St. Patrick, Like they sent him with a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle lunchbox full of cheese because he was found. If you don't remember St. Patrick, he was a Labradoodle. We thought he was a Golden Doodle, and he came into the rescue group.
All legs and just such a skinny guy.
Yeah, he was found in the woods. He was really old, like mostly blind, mostly deaf. I think entirely deaf. Clearly, maybe he had been dumped. He also could have just wandered away and gotten lost, but was found really starving in the woods on the side of the road, and got rescued. This family took him in, and he was just more than they could manage.
That's right. They had another dog,
and like little kids, and he came to us, and they were just so wonderful. Like the people who had fostered him were so wonderful, and it, as happens a lot with starving dogs, like he wasn't really eating. He's the dog that we would go to. He would eat cheeseburgers and French fries. Like, we couldn't get him to eat food. And so we would go to Burger King and we'd order like a dozen cheeseburgers and French fries.
Or McDonald's. I mean, we would do either, right? It's
yeah.
Like, just give us 12 of these, and then they'd be like, okay.
And then we'd feed him like 2 cheeseburgers for every meal and like whatever French fries. We eventually got him to eat these like meatball brats and tots. Was the canned? It was canned food called brats and tots.
Dog food, but it was kind of like Chief Boyardee's quality.
Chef Boyardee. Oh my God! And then we'd like jam French fries into the top of it to try to get him to eat it.
Yeah, we really just tried to get calories into the guy, and he was fine, but he never plumped up or anything.
No, he was so
skinny.
I mean, he was emaciated when we got him. He was always skinny.
Those bones.
He was really, really old too, and had a lot of dementia. He would wander at night.
Yeah. But he did a lot of sleep running too.
Yeah, would run in his sleep. He was a great dog, but kind of, we were never really able to connect with him in the same way because he was kind of out of it. And I don't know, we had him maybe for a year.
I don't know. He had the mirror.
Yes, he loved to look at himself in the mirror, so we got a little mirror and we put it at like his height, like a foot off the floor.
That amused him. Yeah.
Oh, he looked at that all the time. He was great. But when we finally had to put him down, we called the people who had fostered him. We texted them ahead of time, and we were like, "Look, we're gonna have to say goodbye tomorrow." And I think we FaceTimed them in from the vet.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you were part of his life too.
Yep.
You were a really important part of his rescue. They had him for a week.
Didn't he have the bloat while he was there? I mean, they saved his life once.
Yes, that's right. They got him. Oh my God, these poor people. Like, they're like, yeah, we'll take this dog. And then like he bloated, I think within like 24 hours, like almost died. They really did save his life, and worked so hard on him. And also being able to go like, hey, like this dog is more than like we can manage. Like, let's find the right place for him.
It was very responsible.
They were just like wonderful people. I love them so much. And we were able to, FaceTime them in at the vet, at his last time for them to say goodbye. And it was really nice to have that connection. And I feel like we kind of had that with Barb, with Sizzle too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we didn't FaceTime in at the vet, but we knew before that she was going to do it. I was texting her that morning. So anyway, that's just to say, like, GR alumni Sizzle, like, we loved her. And, hopefully she's hanging out with Maggie and Jasmine and Queso and Hops and Fink. Everybody. Oh my God, everybody that she was with. Yeah. If there's a rainbow bridge to meet her, they were all there.
The first live show, if anyone came to that in Maryland, Sizzle was there.
That's right,
Barb and Matt brought Sizzle. That's why there were 7 dogs, right? Because it was Riley and...
We might have lost Maggie by then.
Maybe
she was
we had 7 dogs, and that seemed like incredibly many at the time. It
Yeah.
includes Riley, but I don't know who else was.
If there were 7, Mag was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's Administrative Corner item 1, which I guess took the length of some of our podcasts, but Sizzle was a good one.
Who's timing this? I don't understand.
I'm just noting it.
You get paid by the word. I don't understand what the big deal is.
I love getting paid by the word. That's a good contract when that happens.
When does that ever happen? Wait, that doesn't actually happen.
I get paid by the word sometimes.
That's Mechanical Turk, and that's a totally different thing.
No. All right. Thank you all again for being patient with my cough. I know it's annoying, but I can't do anything about it. All right. Item number 2. Friend of the squad, Laureen, sent us an email with a fish scandal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Strong.
Racine Harbor incident. Gun drawn during ice fishing dispute.
Someone's going to shoot a fish? How's the fish going to defend themselves?
The brief. The Racine County Sheriff's Office said a breach of ice fishing etiquette is led to the... Okay, let's try. I'm going to rephrase this article. A breach of ice fishing etiquette led to the arrest of an Illinois man and left a Wisconsin man harboring bad feelings about the incident. You guys, a fib, if you don't know what that means, it's a Wisconsin term for a person from Illinois. It's a fucking Illinois bastard, and this guy counts as one. The ice fishing fallout happened just before sunrise, early Sunday morning, January 12th, at the Racine Harbor. Can you imagine going out ice fishing at like 4 in the morning?
This is like the coldest time of the cold season to sit on a cold ice and fish for cold fish in cold water. I get the theme here seems to be coldness.
Officers arrived and arrested 59-year-old Louis Herrera of Highland Park, Illinois.
Highland Park, that's Ferris Bueller land. That's not really Chicago. You don't have to take responsibility for that. That's some kind of wealthy suburb.
It's Illinois, though.
Well, yes.
For disorderly conduct in endangering safety with a weapon. Racine, Wisconsin. Dateline, Racine, Wisconsin. A breach of ice fishing etiquette in Racine led to the arrest of an Illinois man, and it left a Wisconsin man harboring bad feelings about the entire incident.
And a bullet.
The Racine County Sheriff's Office said it started as an argument over being too close to each other on the ice. Then things got dicey when one of the men pulled a gun.
The Illinois men.
Justin Dilly said he and his girlfriend were the first to arrive on the harbor when the two met up at their shanty 10 yards away. So if you guys don't know, all right, first, how do you fish when there's ice? You cut a big circle in the ice. There's drills that you can use to drill the hole in the ice, or you can like saw it in there.
I think drilling nowadays is the preferred method.
And you can drill by hand where there's a little crank, or you can have like a gas-powered drill. So it drills a hole into the ice, but it's fucking cold out there, as Ingo said. You could put like a little camp chair on the ice and sit there.
And freeze to death.
But there are little shanties of varying kinds.
This is so funny.
So you can get like a little shanty you bring out with you, which is like a little pop tent.
It's a summer house. It's a winter house.
So there's ones that are like fabric, and they just kind of pop up, and it's like enough space for one person to sit, and you can.
And
like,
it's a lot warmer than not having it, of course.
Because the wind is not blowing on you, and it's super windy. But in places where there's like regular ice fishing, you can put up like a shanty, which is kind of like a tiny house, but a little smaller. But it's like wood, and you put it over where your hole is going to be, and you've got like a space.
And a heater, usually. You
can put a heater in there.
Windows.
Ice, yeah, definitely windows. Because the ice has to be quite thick for you to ice fish. Yeah. And, and so you can put a heater in there, and even if like a little bit melts on the top, it's fine because the ice is like a foot thick.
It's basically like a large outhouse size.
Yeah, that's a good description.
I mean, if you can imagine that, but it looks like an outhouse, but it's just bigger because you can sit 3 or 4 people in there.
Yeah. So Justin Dilly said he and his girlfriend were the first to arrive. Quote, I truly feel like if I would have gotten aggressive with the guys, that I would be laying there on the ice dead right now, Dilly said. As I'm setting up, I'm like, are you guys going to set up right here? And they go, yeah, why? Do you have any suggestions? And I'm like, my dog is going to bark the whole time, and it's a little close. After a few minutes, he said he calmly approached the two men about fishing etiquette. Quote, it's only us people by ourselves. Nobody else is out here. I don't know why you have to set up this close.
Oh, my God. This is the guy who sits right next to you in an empty movie theater.
It's that guy. You're on the bus, and like you're the only person on the bus, and they sit next to you, like in the seat next to you.
Oh, that's like, terrible.
Yep. The guy, so he says, it's only us people out here by ourselves. Nobody else is out here. I don't know why you have to set up this close. I don't understand you guys. The guy charges me, and he goes, talk now. And he gets right in my face, and I think I'm about to get pushed. I'm just waiting to get punched, and the other guy waves out his pistol in my direction and all over the place. That's when Dilly said he called 911.
Nice work, Dilly.
Officers arrived and arrested 59-year-old Luis Herrera of Highland Park, Illinois, for disorderly conduct and endangering safety with a weapon. I will say, you guys, drinking is a big part of ice fishing because, like, you're out there on the ice and it's fucking cold and, like, fish are not super biting in the winter. So
I think drinking is a big part of fishing.
Yeah, and then I would say especially ice fishing because you're cold and it's extra boring and also cold. But also it was probably 4 a.m. So how much was Luis Herrera drinking? I don't know. Maybe nothing. Maybe he's just a dick.
What kind of idiot, though? If there's one shanty out there, you're like, drill your hole 3 inches away from the other hole. What a jerk. What a bunch of jerks. Whatever, how many people there were, they were all jerks. Jerk party.
The Racine County Sheriff's Office said they confiscated a gun on the scene. Dilly said, in my mind, I didn't know what was going to happen. At first, I thought I was going to get punched, and then I thought I was going to get shot.
I'm glad nothing bad happened to that young man.
Dilly said he would like to see Herrera face harsher penalties and also believes the other person should have been charged. So I guess Herrera had a pal.
Yes.
No injuries were reported.
Jerk store. They can serve time with the fish cheaters.
There you go.
The weights and fish guys. They can all hang out together and talk about how much jerks they are.
There you go. Fish scandal.
Everyone just settle down.
Thanks, Lorene.
Don't be a jerk.
That did not come up on my fish scandal Google News alert. So, do we need more sangria? We totally do. Let's pause this and get some.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that's Ella eating some ice cubes and then also Ingo making sounds in the background.
Whoa.
Oh, you just spilled sangria on Ella. Well, she'll enjoy that. Do you want to talk about the sphagnum that you were bitching about in the background while she chomped her ice cube?
Yes, we got some predatory plants.
They're so cool.
More predatory plants. This may have been a Instagram purchase.
It's so good though.
These we have these little mites that
like little fruit fly kind of things.
Fruit fly things that fly around our, various plants, and the limes and lemons we have in our bucket. And there's this little plant that we have. What's it called?
I think it's called a sundew.
Sundew that has these little soft-looking stickly blossoms. I mean, blades, and the fruit flies go on there and get stuck. It's not as complicated as a Venus flytrap, but they get stuck and then they get eaten.
It really does catch them too.
Yeah, it's good. So we've had 2 for a little while, and they seem to be doing well. And we get 2 more, but it turns out you can't just plant them in dirt. They come in this sphagnum.
Sphagnum. It's called a dewy pine, I think.
Sphagnum. And so it's like dried out moss, basically, and you have to rehydrate the moss and then use that as the planting soil for these things. And so we have a bunch of it lying around in a salad bowl that looks a little bit like barbecue meat. And so I was going in the kitchen. I was like, "Oh, taste? No, it's not good. Not good. Not good." But you never know. I might eat it in a little while.
I think it is a sundew.
While I'll eat it.
Look at this sundew caught a whole ass wasp.
That's fake.
Our sundews catch like individual little gnats.
They jammed that wasp in there. Sundew didn't catch it by itself. Sundews just hang out. Anyway, sphagnum. The pH is silent. It's not.
I guess one more item for administrative corner. We're like 45 minutes into this podcast. Is that someone messaged us that they had ordered a Golden Ratio calendar, which we've ordered a few of.
This is good. I ordered most of them.
In the front page, which includes the cover and the January picture, because the cover is on the front, and then the January picture is on the other side of that page. And then also the back of the calendar were these like Weimaraners.
It was weird. The January picture was the butt of some dog that was not our dog.
Not our dog.
But it was the butt. It wasn't even the face. It was a weird picture of not our dogs. And then, the cover and the back were different dogs.
They did end up figuring out which dogs it was. They're like,
yeah,
oh, this is the account.
They're also famous, or they also had an Instagram account, but it's not our dogs. And then, like 8 of the months were our dogs.
Yeah, they just messed up the front and the back.
So if anyone got weird dogs in their calendars that didn't look like ours,
like we didn't do that, and you can email lulu.com and be like, you guys, what the heck, and they'll send you a replacement.
A chicken on the back. That is intentional. That is not one of our dogs. That is a chicken.
It's a chicken.
Everything else should be, named dogs.
Yep.
So, yeah, don't be fooled.
No, that was just funny. I think that's happened like every year. There's some weird misprint, but...
Maybe they're more valuable. They're like misprint postage stamps. Does anyone understand? Does anyone remember collecting postage stamps? Am I the only one who ever collected postage?
I went through a little phase
stamps
when I was in college because I worked in the admissions office, and this was like the late 90s where you would mail in your application.
Yeah.
And so they would get a bazillion envelopes of mailed applications
with a lot of stamps on them.
And I worked at night, so I'd
steal them
after the office was closed. Well, it was in the trash, right? But I would like go through like the whatever paper recycling bin in the back after they got all the things, and collect all the stamps off of it.
I bet there were international ones too.
Tons of international ones.
Oh, this would have been good.
That was like the most exciting part for me. So I had a really interesting collection of like modern canceled international stamps and like all the American ones from those applications. I certainly don't have that anymore, but I had a phase of like 9 months.
Mine was a phase too, but my brother and I discovered you could like order postage stamps, back of Rolling Stone magazine or something, and they would send you like 40 canceled stamps from East Germany, and I was like, "Oh, cool, DDR stamps. That's great. We don't have to. We're not sending them any mail. We'll just get their stamps." So we have somewhere I have a stamp book that has a bunch of old East German stamps in it that weren't particularly pretty or valuable, but were kind of cool at the time.
Hey, someday maybe they will be.
They weren't upside down or wrong colored or anything like that. It wasn't like, what is it, the blue Mauritius, the one with the upside down biplane? I mean, this is what I heard as a kid, was just like, you got to find this rare misprint stamp and it'll be worth thousands of euros or marks or whatever it was, dollars at the time. We found none of that. We just got regular, stamps. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Okay, it's time for dog updates.
Okay.
I was in Cambridge all last week, so any dog updates are yours to have, but I don't think there's too many.
Well, some of them participated in a bank heist in Las Vegas where they broke into the Bellagio. They had to, surmount a bunch of electronic locks and complicated systems, but they all, they planned this for months. So I think,
do we have $165 million
especially when Remy set off the EMP, it was surprised everyone. Do we have $165 million? No, they didn't take the money. They're not that organized. But they did mess up, everything.
Oh, well, good job, you guys.
They messed up Las Vegas. But, I didn't tell you about that?
No, I guess you were drinking and watching Ocean's 11 at the same time.
Maybe. They're all good. Brody had a massage treatment, which he liked. He seems to be pretty active these days. Yeah. He likes to. He's very assertive about going swimming.
Yeah,
but he also patrols the perimeter. He does a pretty good job. He's kind of back to strong, independent man. Does what he wants. Doesn't need no owner.
That's right.
Everyone else is good. Guac enjoys the fries still.
Ah.
And when you left, Sergio was still here, right? Have we talked about him?
That's a good question. I don't remember.
We have not.
So we dog sat for 2-time Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Gwen Filosa's dog, Sergio, over Christmas into New Year's.
And we've decided we have enough dogs.
It was a lot of dogs, but he was a very good boy. Yeah.
It's not his fault that he's got 6 others there. He is a very good boy. He's very quiet. He's very loving. He was very appropriate with everyone else. Very deferential.
Speaking of which, it's time for Taste of the Keys, and I have a story from 2-time Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Gwen Filosa.
These are the best stories.
Boat captain charged and crashed that injured boy last summer.
This is a sad story, but it's a breaking news story from Gwen Filosa.
Yeah, a Florida Keys charter fishing boat captain was drunk on tequila and high on drugs when he crashed his vessel into a bridge last summer, seriously injuring several of his clients, including an 11-year-old boy.
I like how they've identified the liquor that he was drinking on.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he had blood alcohol level. He was drunk on tequila. How do you get that out of a chemical analysis?
Lawrence, 42, slammed his 35-foot Sea Hunter center console into the South Pine Channel Bridge at 37 miles an hour at 1:30 a.m. on July 8th.
Oh, well, I don't need... That is pitch black.
Pitch black.
He's riding when if he's lucky, he has a searchlight.
Yeah, so that's between Big Pine and Little Torch,
37
probably.
miles an hour on a boat feels like
Oh, my God.
out of control fast in a
So
car.
fast.
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
And you guys, all of our bridges down here, so the Keys, there's 42 bridges, is that right?
44.
There's 47 bridges between when you come over the causeway from the mainland into Key Largo down to Key West.
Yep.
All the bridges, pretty much, were part of the Overseas Railroad, which was built in like the early 1900s. And so it's a lot of arches, like relatively small arches. And it was...
That's right.
We did a little bit of this, I think, in the Labor Day hurricane episode of Mysteries in Paradise.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like ingenious engineering. And they took these like trees and they like lashed them together, and they invented for the building of the Overseas Railroad this concrete that could cure in water.
Yeah.
And they would build these arches that still exist and are strong, and there's no degradation in them.
Right.
These kind of concrete arches that are sort of, surrounding this.
They look almost Roman.
Yeah. I mean, it's really an amazing feat of engineering that it's been like over 100 years.
Yep.
And they're still there and strong and doing great. But the space between the arches is quite narrow.
Yeah, there's a lot of arches.
Yes, there's a lot of arches.
If you're in a boat, it's a lot of bridge.
I mean, when I run, and Ingo, you'll understand this distance, like across the bridge to Shark Key, which is not even a mile. There's 98 arches.
What?
They're labeled. Like someone has spray painted the arch numbers on them.
Oh.
Because they need to replace like the decking on the top.
Wow.
The Army Corps of Engineers or maybe the Navy came in like in the 1940s or 50s and put a decking on top of that after we had switched over to the highway. And
right.
So there's a lot of times there's like the road that we drive on, and then it's next to a pedestrian bridge, which is built on top of the old railroad bridge. And they put this decking on top of it where they basically put these like steel beams on top of the old railroad bridge that are like wider than the deck was for the railroad bridge. And they've all started failing. And so they were like steel beams, and it was paved on top of, and the steel beams have started like decaying, and then like the entire decking collapses.
This is on the pedestrian side.
On the pedestrian side. The archways are fine. It's the stuff on top of it that's messed up. But one of these, when I run, I have a kind of 16-mile route that I run on the weekends, 8 miles down and 8 miles back to our house. And there's a sort of stretch where I have to run, and yeah, they've labeled all of the archways on this. It's less than a mile on that Shark Key Bridge, but there's 98 arches. So they're very narrow, and this guy crashed into one of those.
Yeah, I mean they fit a boat, maybe two boats, right? Like a boat
you
and a half.
If you're going slow,
yeah,
you could have one boat going either direction under
That's
it.
Right.
But it's not any wider than that.
If you're going 37 miles an hour, this is kind of like trying to thread some needle on a car or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you could get through it, but you really have to know what you're doing, because there's a lot of the archways in there.
Yeah.
And he was drunk.
And 37 mile an hour is super fast, and
so
you're
fast.
flooring it in a boat. At not 1:30 in the morning, it gets dark here, folks. It is dark.
Dark, because there's no lights on on the road, like the Overseas Highway.
That's right.
The one road that we talk about all the time. There's no street. I mean, in Key West, I guess there are, but like not on the rest of it. It is fully pitch black dark.
Yeah.
So yeah, a blood lab test from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement found that he was positive for amphetamine and methamphetamine.
Oof. So he's awake.
And he was also drunk on tequila. He got arrested. Thanks, Gwen.
Yeah. Don't do that, guys. Don't drink and boat. It's bad. Not only are you going to hurt yourself and others, but you might hurt marine wildlife too.
The first comment is they were out at 1 a.m. for the mangrove snapper spawn. It's not uncommon at all. Everyone goes out to fish for them after summer sunset, which is usually around 8:30 p.m. My neighbors normally head out at 9 or 10 and come in around 1 a.m. Very normal. What's not normal is being drugged up and drunk while you're operating a chartered vessel.
Ooh, so it wasn't even his.
Oh, he was the he ran the charter.
Charter captain. Oh no.
Yeah.
Wait, layers and layers of bad.
Yeah, it's one thing if you're like a client and you're drunk.
It's one thing if it's your own boat and you can do what, you can kind of...
He was operating the charter.
Wreck yourself. No, you're hurting everyone. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Un disastro.
So there you go. That's Taste of the Keys.
That's a good story, Gwen. Well researched, but
Thanks,
also
Gwen.
sad story and dumb. Don't do this. Cautionary tale, guys.
Dumb.
Cautionary tale.
It's time for German word of the week.
Is it?
It is.
All right. I think I've figured it out before.
What is it?
Unzurechnungsfähig.
Unzurechnungsfähig.
Yeah. Zurechnungsfähig. It's UNZURENCHNUNGSFAHIG.
What the fuck does that mean?
It means not legally responsible for your actions. It means you're not taken as a full, competent human being.
Well,
with all the negatives it implies. But if someone gets really drunk, they're like unzurechnungsfähig.
Okay. Do you feel like that right now? Because we're on our second pitcher of sangria.
I mean, no, I think I'm still, legally competent to manage my affairs, but I'm heading that way. Wee.
Fair enough.
No.
Okay. It's time for Ango Corner.
I don't have anything new. I was going to do garden update, but I already did that. Never mind. I didn't do any secret.
On the secret podcast?
I didn't do any secret podcast.
That you can hear if you're a Patreon subscriber.
Correct.
Before we get to the sign off then, I would just like to add that I am not going to be here next week. Ingo, I'm not going to be here next week. I'm leaving tomorrow.
What? How? Where? I knew this. I mean, I did know this. This has been, she's been packing all day. It's fun. I knew this.
So as you know,
I was just joshing.
Our sign-ups for the podcast are Slava Ukraini and Don't Put Anyone Unless They Ask You To. And I am going to Slava Ukraini next week.
I'm going to go to Don't Bite Anyone Unless They Ask You To. So big.
So I'm going to go Slava Ukraini, and you make sure while I'm gone, you don't put anyone unless they ask you to.
Yes, nobody be worried.
It's going to be fine. I'm going to Ukraine. I am leaving the Keys tomorrow en route to Ukraine, which takes a long time to get to because you can't fly there because bombs. But I'm going to be in Ukraine for a week. If you are interested in following, my photojournalism Instagram is jagged_photo. And I'll be posting updates there from some of the places, but not some of the sketchier places. So I'll be in Kyiv part of the time, and I'll be in other places, other parts of the time. I will not be posting live from the other places, but I will be posting from Kyiv while I'm there. And once I'm out of the sketchier places, I will also post what happened.
I don't want to see you in the news.
I'm going to do my very best. I'm bringing body armor.
Mm-hmm.
And I have fixers and local translators. So I'm going pretty well prepared. As we have discussed on previous podcasts, Ingo, you and I both did he fat training last spring.
Now he fat. I've been eating a lot since
No.
then.
This is hostile environment training.
That's what they called me. He fat. It was for journalists in war and hostile regions. Yes.
Yes. So I have some training, and I've got a fixer, and I have a translator. So it's all going to be fine. And I'm going to go do some journalisty things. I have a few pieces that I'm working on. And so it'll be about 10 days that I'm gone. So we will not have a podcast next week. I don't know, maybe if my internet's good in Kyiv, maybe we'll podcast overnight.
No.
But anyway, if you want to follow along with this true adventure, I'll be at Jagged Photo on Instagram and posting whatever interesting stuff I have to post there.
It will all be interesting.
I am very excited
Get
for
out
it.
of here.
This is the 4th time I have tried going to Ukraine, and for various reasons.
In 6 months.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. For various reasons, it has not worked every other time, but it's absolutely going to work this time, even though I have this stupid cough and I don't feel great. It's going to be fine. So
Yeesh.
it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be epic, yes.
Ingo, I'm very grateful to you.
Me?
For being such a supportive partner, where I'm like, I'm going to go to a war zone, and you're like, cool, we hope you have an awesome time.
It's like sort of, you're not going to be in the front, you tell me. You're not going to fight, supposedly.
I'm definitely not going to fight, and unless someone offers me the opportunity, I'm not going to the front line on this trip.
What a qualifier.
There are future trips planned that will involve going to the front line, but this is not one of them.
Also, you're bringing a dog back?
Am I going to bring a dog back?
Yeah, a Ukrainian dog.
I mean, I would not rule it out.
Little Ukrainian dog.
I would not rule it out.
Little war dog.
Would love to.
Yeah. Just make sure they're not, controlling drones.
I mean, if we could have a dog that could control the drone.
It would probably wreck us. These are like aggressive little dogs with their drones. They're not there to be nice. They blow stuff up.
No promises about whether or not I'm coming back with a dog.
Oh, God, we're getting a dog.
A Ukrainian war dog?
There's dogs all over the place in Ukraine. It's like Children's Palace for stray dogs.
Oh, my God. Can you
They're
imagine?
everywhere. There's aisle 12,
Can you imagine
aisle 15, aisle 14.
Like when I leave Ukraine, I'm taking an overnight train out from Kyiv into Poland. Can you imagine me just like on the overnight train with like my little dog?
Yeah, very easily. This is the problem. This is why I'm giving you some kind of caution here.
Wait, how would you feel about me bringing back a dog from Ukraine?
I mean, what do you expect me to say?
You could be like, Jen, we already have too many dogs.
Yeah, but that's just rationality speaking. You also shouldn't go to Ukraine rationally. So if you're going to go to Ukraine, you might as well bring a freaking dog back, and then, we'll have a little magic.
So you guys, maybe there will be a dog.
Magic Ukrainian strategic dog.
If I find a golden retriever in Ukraine, it is 100% coming home with me.
Holy cow.
Oh, my God.
It's going to be a Russian spy, Jen. It's going to be some kind of spy.
I'm going to, in the transit into home, I'm going to indoctrinate it into American exceptionalism.
The thing's going to be like sending off missives on our computer every night. They'll be like, why is this a Ukrainian dog always logging into my Facebook? What's up with that?
I'm going to be like, listen, dog, we are the shining
click, clack,
city
click,
on the
click,
hill.
Click, 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 click.
Let me tell you about capitalism.
Dog will be like,
that's not going to work. I'm going to be like, actually, that's kind of bullshit.
Go ahead. Dog's like, I was big on TikTok and now they took that away, so I'm lashing out. Lashing out.
Red note dog.
I was a TikTok personality. Now I'm nothing. I'm lashing out.
No promises for dog or no dog coming back from Ukraine. It'll be an adventure. We'll see what happens.
I just have a hard time controlling you, Jen.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, you knew that before you married me.
That was just funny to say.
Yeah, can you imagine?
It's so funny to say.
All right,
I cannot
everybody.
imagine. Are you kidding me?
We will talk to you in a couple weeks. Maybe, if you're lucky, your dad will do a solo secret podcast, which
It'll
I
be secret.
totally won't know anything about while I'm gone.
Secret, and you're gonna have to upload it.
I was gonna say, except I have to put the bumper music on and upload it. So, if you
maybe I'll just play my own bumper music. Do 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 do. I can sing.
Dee, 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 dee,
Ba, da, da,
dee,
da.
dee. There you go. You can just sing that. Maybe it'll happen.
Oh my goodness.
Subscribe to the Patreon.
See what happens.
And until next time, Slava Ukraini, and don't bite anyone unless they ask you to.
That's right.
Bye.
Bye.